Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Out of Fuel Sim Racing. We are a Le Mans Ultimate League based in North America, and it is good to be back. We were on a break the last week, and yeah. Without further ado, then let's dive straight into the track for this week, which is the Fuji International Speedway. I'm not gonna lie, folks. Fuji is not exactly my kettle of fish. The only good thing that's come out of it is the Lexus RCF. That's where it was tested. But I can take you on a track walk. So we head down the really long, almost 2 kilometer or 1 point something mile long back straight, down to turn 1, Daiichi as it's apparently called. This is akin to Monza turn 1. Hard braking zone after a very long straight is a certain venue for carnage and overtake attempts. From there we head down to the kink through to turn 3, alternate Coca-Cola, which is a fast left-hander, but very important to set it up correctly, because then you head straight into the very long right-hander of 100R. 100R, easy to get your line wrong, and you also kind of have to stay a bit tighter on exit than you'd like, because you immediately go into a sharp left-hander, the hairpin. Again, another place where if you mess up 100R, you might just get overtaken at the hairpin, which is a bit off-camber and a bit weird in profile. From the hairpin, you head down a bit of a flat-out run through another couple of kinks and a 300R, and then we head down to Dunlop Corner. We are running the classic layout without that chicane at Dunlop, but this will still be a bit of a break and carry speed through down to Sector 3, which is, I'm just going to refer to it as Sector 3 as a whole, because it just does feel like one corner at times. Everything here is very off-camber and very tricky to get right, very technical. So if you get it wrong, you are a sitting duck down the back straight as we head through a twisty bit. So yeah, you're going to see some moves being set up in this sector, but not necessarily being completed in this sector. And then you head down the back straight, down to the start-finish. Pit lane is not going to be super relevant today, I think, but it's still there. You want to see it. We are just about wrapping up wet practice, so that gives us some time to go over the state of the championship as it stands. So after 3 rounds, we are starting to look at drop rounds as part of the championship calculus as well. Joris Butkus leads with 100 points after the drop round has been discounted. Michael Landry in second on 94 has a drop round to spare. Joris does not. Guillermo Perret in third on 91, tied with Greg Cacciadorian, although Perret does have the option of a drop round, so in a bit of a stronger position there. Parker Thomas in fifth on 79, followed closely behind by Christian Gomez on 77, William Nairn on 76, and Matthew Murray on 73. These guys have been part of some pretty intense battles so far this season, and I can't wait to see it continue as these guys will fight for best of the rest almost in this field. Gene Wolfe in 9th and Ethan Gonzalez in 10th on 65 and 64. Again, very close so far after 3 races. Anyway, without further ado, let's head into the race. Tonight's race is a sprint round. That means it's a 35-minute race, no scheduled pit stop, no mandatory pit stops, and it's a full push from lights to flag. And yeah, we'll be seeing qualifying startup in a moment's time. And before that, get into what people are doing in practice. Joris Butkus, as has been the case so far whenever he's been around the season, just miles up in the practice timings. Today's race, additionally, if it wasn't so, I didn't mention it particularly, but broadcast. It should be wet all the way through. So this is going to be an interesting challenge. Full push in the wet is quite a unique challenge in LMU. Not exactly a given that the grip will be the same every lap. So it's interesting to add a bit of adaptability in that mix. And it's just about complete. Lap practice is coming to a close as mentioned. We have hit the 0 mark. Checkered flag is out. and has just come across the line. He is second, doing quite well in that Soul AMG. Oh, I say Soul. JP is in the garage. Don't know if he'll be taking the field tonight. Yeah, if he does, that gives Naren some company. Matthew Heslop recovering from a moment in the grass. Not seeing any major thing happening in practice. It's a bit longer than usual. Slightly start, so we will momentarily be heading into qualifying. The other car on track right now, Nick Johnson and Gomez in the Lex. Particularly improved on Tesla. I think the track may be getting slightly better than when the sector started. It does improve in the third sector though, so maybe it's not as wet as you think. Just looking across the line, that should set us up for qualifying. Cross line nowish. And the session has continued. There's someone else out on track. Oh no, he has finished. Waiting for her to get. Alright, and we are all set for qualifying. This is 10 minutes, not 15. Meanwhile, let's go over some new faces joining the sprint series. CM Wilson has joined. This is going to be his first race. It's quite the first race to have. A wet Fuji. He's still in the garage. I think a few people have started heading out. Go over a couple of new guys. Rich Dyer, I believe this is his first race with us. He has been in the league for a little bit, but it's just not been yet. And I believe that's our two comers. Now, of course, returning cast, Mission Wallace, missed the first few rounds, is in the pits. Don't know if he's going to make it. And JD Pagnoli and Vinny Del Villano also in the pits, but not showing any signs of movement. Oh, as I say, that Vinny Del Villano coming out of the box. And he's going to be racing tonight, or at least qualifying. See how that goes. Matthew Murray, currently the first car out. The MRT BMW driver has shown some solid pace, as I said earlier. Usually been locked in some good midfield battles and has had some good results in the sprints. Interesting to see. Goes through Dunlop and heading into sector 3. The track has this really weird camber all the way through. Probably the most normal corner of the lot, and then you head straight into that really tight left-hander. Tire warmers are on, of course. For the wets it doesn't really matter because they're designed to work more or less at room temperature. A much softer compound than the typical Goodyear slicks, as you already puts that power down. Shows that even though these tires get up in temperature quick, they're still skittish as hell on the way on a wet track. We can show you the track. Current forecast is overcast and light rain, so there is some track wetness. We'll see how it goes. Not seeing an awful lot of it, although that might just be graphic settings. They're playing with me. Go on board. Bit Matthew Murray and kind of see how he gets along. Coming up to turn 3, this is a fast left-hander, bit trickier I assume in the rain because, of course, lack of grip and go slower. You kind of have to lose a bit of aero grip as well. There's not really there to help you. And you can see just pulsing the throttle through 100R. Then having to take that really tricky chicane. Very widens out nicely on exits, so he can get the power down nice and early. But then you have to immediately turn right. It's of course completely flat out, so the gain isn't much, but it's still there. Coming up to Dunlop Kink, as it is, instead of the Dunlop Hairpin, or the Dunlop Chicane. And then coming through sector 3, he's gonna hit that first corner. You can see just how uphill it is at the apex. That is a massive off-camber corner. A little bit on camber, and you're straight back to off-camber at the apex again. makes the getting on power really tricky. You can see the traction control or Murray working overtime on the pedal there to try and stop those rear tires from spinning up. Gonna head out of the final corner. Again, traction control really kicking in hard. You can see the throttle trace doesn't quite go to 100, even though he's probably mashing that pedal as hard as he can. Matthew Murray's gonna come across the line. Of course, we don't really have a... This is gonna be a benchmark setter for the rest of the field. It's gonna be a 146.821. Joris Butkus behind him, immediately going faster. 145.447. Of course. Joris has been the man to beat this season so far, and previous seasons as well. He's gonna be coming through to complete a lap. Let's look at a few others. Some people not yet only invalidated last numbers. Ian Wilson is gonna come across the line. Richie Wood as well. Slots into 10th place. 147.269. Well, some others. Dan Gomez as well is going to be setting a lap time. Meanwhile, Gene Wolf has the fastest middle sector from that lap. 146.1, so about, say, 7/10 off of yours. But purple middle is not a bad deal at all. Gene Wolf typically in the periphery of the top 10, so that's a great performance from him. Joris Butkus has not improved in that middle sector. That's what happens. He has put up a good purple. He says a purple first sector, although I highly doubt that. Oh, never mind. It looks maybe the overlay is acting up a little bit. You know what? I said this a few times on the broadcast. You are purple middle sector in my heart. William Nairn in 4th place. Kind of getting a nice move on, coming out of the final corner. Let's see how much of an improvement he finds from that first lap. Just keep in mind that the cars going around the track should make that dry line a little bit drier. 152.542 that last lap though, so clearly something has not gone to plan in that third sector. And probably having a moment. But this is him coming up to Dunlop, I think. And don't see anything unusual here. Not really good enough to warrant yellow. I was hoping that the colors would give me something there, but apparently not. Oh. Nairn coming through the hairpin and getting him on. Have a look at some other folks. Here's Ian Wilson, our debutant. One of our 2 debutants is in 6th place, really aggressively attacking the track there in that Roxy Porsche. Or I don't know if I can say Roxy or AO will copyright strike me, but YOLO. Rich Dyer in P5 as well, so our newcomers are currently locking out the 3rd row of the grid. As it stands, 3 minutes and 17 seconds to go. They're getting a lot of curb there at that apex. A bit squirrely as a result, I think. And out of the final corner, gets on the power nicely from where you can see here at least. Gonna come across the line. This is gonna be a 1 minute 40 something. 1 minute 47.529, and apparently my display is broken. Because the lap times look really weird. Joris Butkus, meanwhile, has gone to the garage, as has P2 Greg Cachadorian. That's interesting. Only a 10th between them, so we're near the gap we have seen from Joris so far this season. This race may actually be a little bit close. Dean Wolf still in 3rd place. William Nairn is exiting the pits. So he's going to have to get a move on. He does have enough time for an outlap and then a full push, but this is really pushing it in terms of getting your tires up to temp and getting yourself locked in for another lap. Landry has boxed as well. A lot of people boxing pretty early on, just feeling like the track is going away from them. Lap time certainly suggests that everyone's going about 2 to 3 seconds a lap slower. So you have to think, like, everyone can't be making a mistake at the same time. That is the tracks, I think, starting to get wetter. Maybe William Naren has run out of time. We'll see how he gets on on his hot lap. I mean, you always love to see an improvement, an underdog story, but the water is not cooperating. Sam Wilson choosing to pull over, and Parker Thomas, another driver who we have talked about a little bit on the broadcast here so far this season, one of our most improved drivers coming through. He's on another outlap as well, just trying to maybe fit a fresh set of wets and find a bit more time maybe on a quieter track. Well, so Richie Wood's still out there looking to find some time. Oh, never mind, he has stopped. Stopping short of the line, Richie. As, yeah, he's coming to the pits. Dan Gomez in 15th as well, staying out there and trying to find something, but these last few laps have not been great. He is currently well down on his process time, so maybe the play was get a lap in early, just get a time on the board because the track's just going to get wetter and wetter. The other thing, William Naren has started his final lap, coming out of turn 1, big wiggle there. You haven't seen many onboards of people going to turn 1. We can stay with Naren, see how he does in the first sector. I will wait and see how gets on. He is coming up to the sector line. Not someone in front of him, but again, this is a private qualifying, so it doesn't really matter. And he is well down on his first sector time. 40.743 in the first sector. That is not great. Well, let's see how Parker on. He is also down by a second in the first sector. So, really, the track is too wet, and Parker Thomas, realizing that the effort is most likely futile, has pulled over. Will be 9th on the grid. William Naren is the only one still trying to find something here. We'll follow him around as he gets through the third sector. Ooh, gets a big snap! And that's his quality lap done. Fortunately, it just looks like Mother Nature got the better of our drivers this time around. And that's that for qualifying. So, to recap, we have Joris Butkus on pole. Rick Castnerian in second, only a 10th off. So we'll look out for our front row at the start of the race. Dean Wolf in third, and William Naren in fourth, bring up the second row. Rich Dyer and CM Wilson in fifth and sixth. Michael Landry and uncharacteristically down in seventh. Matthew Murray in eighth, making a all BMW fourth row. Parker Thomas and Mission Wallace in ninth and 10th. Another driver who's maybe a little bit out of position there, Parker Thomas. See how he gets on in the race. Richie Wood in 11th, Guillermo Perret, another driver who has been pretty dominant in the multi-class series, in 12th. Johnson in 13th, June Narcisse in 14th. Dan Gomez 15th, Ricky Swaby 16th, Vinny Dalbellano 17th, Kavan Green 18th, Matthew Haslip 19th, and Bort Bonerson in 20th. I believe that is the grid. Oh, a lot of drivers clearly out of position. That rapid track progression from only slightly wet to too wet to actually improve, definitely hurting our drivers a little bit. But that shuffles it up for the race, though. So excited to see what that brings us. And while we wait for our race, I will leave you with the promo screen, and I will rejoin you for the start. And welcome back, folks. We are on the formation lap and we are getting ready to go for what I'm sure is going to be a thrilling race in Fuji. Spotka's leading our grid from the front, Greg Katsadorian in that white and yellow Podium Hunters Mustang right behind him. And they are pulling onto the long start-finish straight, so he's got plenty of time to form up. See the rest of the grid come through. Back of the grid, I think that's green in that very distinct Porsche in the background. You guys gonna come across the line. Well, folks in chat, thank you for joining us tonight, of course. Shout out to you guys. You mentioned in chat who you think is gonna win this race, and why is I don't know who's gonna win this. This is gonna looking pretty interesting, and the rain always throws up a bit of uncertainty.
Green flag.
And we are green at Fuji International Speedway. Spotka is getting a good launch. Great Katsadorian in that Mustang, though, pulling alongside, not really letting that Porsche go. And they are going to barrel into turn one. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers here? Great Katsadorian making a move around the outside, still alongside Spotka's. Immediately a bit of carnage in turn one. A one-spun car, but everyone else looks to have made it through okay. Castor and Eurospot is still alongside. Going into turn three, they're going to go side by side. And they are going to make it out. Eurospot somehow holding on. Greg Katsadorian had a brilliant start there in that Mustang. And Eurospot is doing well to hold on. Now can he use that Porsche's nice traction to start to work his way up? Further back, we're seeing all sorts of chaos. I just saw 3 wide going into the hairpin. As that's Parker Thomas, Matthew Murray, and Guillermo Perez are star cast from the midfield. And sometimes the front of the grid, all racing hard. 2 Lexuses, 1 BMW. What happens next? Oh, as Parker Thomas slightly outbreaks himself. Uncertain grip out there. And both of them go off. Both him and Matthew Murray go off track. Murray rejoins ahead of everyone. Parker Thomas losing a few positions there. They're going to go 3 wide into that turn. As I don't know who that was. Dan Gomez and Nick Johnson, I believe, and June Narcisse in the Ferrari getting involved. Now, Nick Johnson gaining a few positions there, going around the outside of Parker Thomas. A great start from Nick Johnson. As we see Spotka leading the field, as he has done so many times this season. Well, 3 times to be precise. This is the 3rd time. Well, we see them heading down the straightaway to start lap 2. Greg Katsadorian not exactly far behind, but maybe not close enough to take advantage of the toe that you get down the monster straight. They are gonna go into turn 1 all okay, but further back, I want to see this. Guillermo Perez and Nick Johnson. Perez managing to hold on through the straight line speed. Dan Gomez now fighting with Parker Thomas. Thomas, of course, losing those positions after that little touch at Dunlop, is now going to be focused on recovering. In the back there, I believe that's Rich Dyer, who's fallen all the way down from P5 to almost the back of the grid. I wonder what happened to his start. He might have been the car that spun at turn 1. So, it'll look really quick. As Guillermo Perez misses his brake marker, almost takes out the Porsche. Who's that? That was Mason Wallace that almost got walloped by Perez. As Nick Johnson, for some reason, almost going into anti-stall there on the exit. Cars don't have anti-stall, which makes it a very impressive feat nonetheless. As he does manage to regain some ground, doesn't lose any positions. June Narcisse in the background going for a move on Parker Thomas, but nothing doing there. Thomas doing well to pull away in that Lexus. As Gene Wolfe has had a moment. Oh, he's sideways! Gene Wolfe! And that is going to be a big I hope everyone gets through okay there. As we saw most cars making it through alright. The only one, I believe, I think Gene Wolfe is the only one that really got hurt, as well as Mission Wallace, I think, caught up. As we saw very quickly the Porsche of Boder Bonerson going around the outside of Gene Wolfe, who looks to suffer some pretty heavy damage. So let's see what happened. It does appear to be just a yellow flag. I don't think there's any foul play involved here. It's just... Ooh! I take that back. that was, I'm not sure who that was in the BMW, and oh no, that's Mission Wallace, just nowhere to go. As the Mustang tries to recover. And that's Matthew Heslop doing very well to get on the brakes there and just avoid the Mustang as he comes back on track. No drive-throughs at the start, by the way, just to mention. That is quite impressive. We've had a couple more yellow flags while we were watching that replay. We'll get to those in a moment. Yoris Butkus, meanwhile, has pulled a 1.5 second gap to Greg Cacciaturian. Doing incredibly well. That's the Yoris we're used to seeing. That is Michael Landry up into third place now. After all that chaos, I think he may have been the car that made contact with Wolf there. But yeah, we'll wait and see what happens post-race for that. William Nairn still in fourth place, although he's now receiving a lot of attention from the Porsche of CM Wilson. The Porsche is pretty quick in the wet. It's got an uncanny ability of putting down traction where other cars can't. And he is really putting that to use. Trying to go around the outside of Nairn, out of the final corner. Kind of goes off track there a little bit. Has to back out of it as he goes onto the grass. And that grass will pull you in, as you saw there. It's Nick Johnson with the yellow flag. At that same corner. We will get to that in a moment as William Nairn and CM Wilson about to go into turn one side by side. Nairn pulling the squeeze, Wilson doing well to spot that and try to hold on to that inside line. Going to turn one, Wilson does manage to outbrake and get that apex, but Nairn has the slightly better exit in the Mercedes and is going to try and hang it around the outside, is he? Surely not. Yeah, and Nairn ultimately acknowledging that maybe this is not the place to be defending. He is going to keep trying to race going into 130R though. 100R, excuse me, Suzuka memory's coming back. And, but yeah, looks like Wilson has got that fourth place settled down, and he's now going to try and go hunt down Michael Landry for a potential podium on debut. Now take a look at what happened to Nick Johnson, who seems to have suffered a similar incident to what we had with Gene Wolfe a minute or two ago. Goes into the corner and the Porsche. Yeah, that'll do. It does that. It does that on entry sometimes. Bit rough to see for Nick, who is now gonna have to fight his way back. Down in 17th place, has got past Bort Bonerson, I think, who had a spin of his own. And Matthew Heslop as well, Hans. William Nairn managing to get past CM Wilson. The instant I look away, Guillermo Perret making a move on Matthew Murray. Murray and Perret, the duo from... I forget which race it was, 2 or 3. But they are back at it again, folks. Matthew Murray in that BMW using that straight line speed to full effect. Guillermo Perret has to go back and tuck back into that draft to try and... stay close enough to maybe try something going into turn one. Is he gonna try something though? Doesn't look like it. Decides to stick to the racing line. Murray is slightly tighter than you'd like to be, but holds onto that position. Now go back and take a quick look at William Nairn got past CM Wilson. Got back past CM Wilson, I should say. Going into Dunlop. Nairn's kind of just... Wilson just goes wide. Oh, can't probably carry too much speed. We can look at that again from Wilson's point of view. As he comes through. And just carries too much speed, and the Porsche did not grip up there. So that's the position handed back to William Nairn. Although this fight looks like it's not going to be over anytime soon. Meanwhile, behind them, Perret and Murray are still a nose to tail through the lap. Like I said, turn one is probably one of the few overtaking spots on this track. The other times you have to count on the car in front of you making a mistake. And that looks like something that might help Guillermo Perret right here, as I see it. Matthew Murray going wide into the grass, forced to lift off, or the traction control kicking in. And he's going to give Guillermo Perret just a little bit of a run, which turns into side-by-side as Greg Cacciaturian has spun. He's around where these guys are right now. He's rejoining the track. That looks like another victim at whatever turn that is. Guillermo Perez, meanwhile, managed to get past Matthew Murray. That was incredible battling, but my brain can barely keep up at this point. Matthew Murray is going to try and come back at him. Remember, that BMW fast enough on a straight line to keep the Lexus at bay without a draft, and with the draft, let's see what he can do. Guillermo Perez knows what's coming, goes defensive. Matthew Murray staying on the racing line, going a little bit tighter to try and get a bit more slipstream, but nothing doing there. Guillermo Perez holding on to that position as Greg Kachadorian now behind them trying to put some pressure on. We'll see how that goes as Matthew Murray now has to go from attack to defense really quickly. A bit of a tighter line in the wet. That might actually be okay because the normal racing line I think off is rubbered up, and we see Guillermo Perez getting a little squirrely, losing a bit of ground there. As the Cavan Green has had a yellow flag at turn 1. I imagine that must be a self-contained incident. But as we see, Greg Kachadorian have another moment. That Mustang is not happy at Fuji. And coming up to Dunlop, Perez and Murray making it through okay. Greg Kachadorian still that car does not look happy, and he is in fact now having to worry about Parker Thomas. I wonder if Greg Kachadorian, well, we can go back and look while they make it through Sector 3. I hope that we don't have any more incidents while we're looking at this replay. Greg Kachadorian takes a bit of curb, gets on the power, and oh, that's rough. Well, he kept it out of the wall at least. Greg Kachadorian still has an intact car to fight another day, but those rear wet tires are not going to be happy. Michael Landry in second, and of course CM Wilson now causes a yellow flag. Thankfully, this time it happened after the replay was done. We can go on board Wilson. Sir, I wanted CM Wilson. Oh my god, what is happening? Coming into the final corner. Again, that corner is a little bit off camber. Get on throttle too early, and that's what happens. Oof. CM Wilson going immediately down from 4th place and tumbling down the order. This race continues to surprise us. How many more wrenches will it throw into the works? The Kachadorian, of course, they're going pretty quickly. Still trying to catch Matthew Murray there. It's at a purple sector 3, but I highly doubt that. Joris Butkus, meanwhile, in the middle of all this, has just sauntered off again. 8.2 seconds the lead now to Michael Landry. That is absurd. Joris once again showing in the wet that he's got that pace. Got the car underneath him to, presuming nothing happens, take him to another nice and easy win. William Nara now has been promoted up to P3 after Greg Kachadorian's misfortune. You'll be wondering how on earth he got himself into podium position. Or not. But we'll see. CM Wilson has had another moment. He's lost a couple of positions there. So we can go on board and see what happened. This looks like maybe another moment. This is going through the hairpin, taking a lot of curb in that Porsche. Gets on the power and the rear just is not gripped up. Not happy. Managing to trundle through the wet grass there. But CM Wilson not really happy with that car anymore after that moment at, I want to say that's turn 50. Rich Dyer has had a moment. Of course, our P3 on P5 on the grid, down in 13th now and really struggling. Both Mustangs in this race not exactly happy with their rear tires. Keep spinning them up. Vinny Delvaux and Rich Dyer are now going to be battling hard. Going down into turn 1. That Ferrari, not necessarily the fastest in a straight line, but we'll see if he can compensate for that with a good move going into this corner, but no, too far back. Delvaux now has to settle behind Dyer again. Oh, Richie Wood has caught up, and the car in front of him, Jules Narcisse in the other Ferrari. He's gonna be catching up real quick. Narcisse kind of going very slowly there. Very sure what, but Richie Wood looking for a move there. Meanwhile, up front, Matthew Murray was about 2 tenths back, but has dropped behind Greg Hatch. Greg Hatch Dorian got past Matthew Murray. That's what that was. Be coming into the hairpin off of 100R. I did mention that mistakes going into the hairpin can punish you, but Murray doing the exact same thing as CM Wilson did a couple of laps ago. Gets on power a little bit wrong, and that's enough to unsettle the rear end. Oh. But not just the Mustangs, not just the Porsches, everyone's struggling on rear tires here. The track is certainly getting wetter. Here, Parker Thomas now lining up behind Matthew Murray to try and take advantage of a little bit of surprise at the rear end coming off for Matthew Murray. We're coming down the back straight now with a few of our cars. Any moves yet, but Rich Dyer has caught up to Ricky Swabby for 12th place, looking to make up amends again after having a bit of a moment at the start. Let's take a look at that start. The only big incident from there, I think. Going into turn 1, everyone's going pretty close. Gets on all 4 wheels on the curb there, just jumps off, and the car is not settled down. And yeah, it's very, very sensitive to any inputs there. At a moment, JD, Matthew Heslop rejoining after a bit of a spin. As Rich Dyer now trying to take on Ricky Swabby in that Jamaica Lexus goes onto the grass and off the track. Ricky Swabby there, that is going to cost him dearly in track limits, and might have just opened up the door for Rich Dyer. Goes around the inside of 100R. Ricky Swabby sees what's coming and decides, you know what, I might as well just let it happen and get on with my race. Rich Dyer up to 12th place. Dalvolo now chasing Nick Johnson. Nick Johnson, wonder what happened to him. Oh, Michael Landry. Oh wait, that happened before. That's my bad. Michael Landry in second, by the way, but not exactly home safe yet. He's got William Nara and Guillermo Perret, 2 very fast pedalers right behind him, and that BMW does not look particularly happy on pace. Here, Naren and Perret very closely matched, but the gap about 4 tenths lost by Naren the previous lap, 7 tenths lost on the previous lap. I take that back. That explains why Guillermo Perret is suddenly very interested in the move over here. Naren choosing to go on a tighter line, which is probably for the wet line. Again, like I said, the racing line is oftentimes coated with so much rubber that when the rain comes, it just becomes incredibly slippery. The water in contact with the rubber on the line makes it really, really slippery. Rick Dorian, meanwhile, has been quietly sliding his way up to P5. Lost a couple of positions, overtook Matthew Murray, and is up in 5th. Meanwhile, Murray, as I say that, has a moment, and what happened there? Dan Gomez and Matthew Murray coming together. You can take a look. Dan Gomez, let's go look at it from Murray's POV. It comes out of turn 3 and just no grip whatsoever. Gets a little tap from Parker Thomas and a little tap from Dan Gomez. Unfortunately, nowhere for the 2-leg side to go. And gets across the track just in time for Hugh Narcisse to make it through safe and sound. Oof. Folks, this race has been going crazy. Meanwhile, Guillermo Perret catching up to William Naren again at that 3rd sector. Naren getting a big Mercedes snap as they are going to navigate to the final corner. Does that open up anything for Guillermo down the straight, or is Naren going to be able to hold on? Find out next episode of Fuji Turn 1 as we are about to head there. Guillermo Perret firmly in the draft and following William Naren. These 2 cars are gonna have been battling pretty hard the past couple of laps, or at least been following pretty hard. We are about to see a battle start, I think, as Perret now drifting to the inside, maybe looking for a cheeky send into turn 1. He is gonna try and go for it. Makes the apex. Naren sees it coming, leaves him the space, goes around the outside, and Perret gets a massive snap. Coming out of turn 1, manages to keep the car pointed in the right direction, but that hands Naren back the position. Rick Casturian, meanwhile, sitting behind will be loving this. Michael Landry sitting in front will be loving this. But Landry has not had the pace. He is going considerably slower than these guys, but them fighting may just give him enough of a lifeline to hold on to P2. Rick Casturian, of course, looking to make amends after being in P2 and spinning out, and is looking at this battle and going, yep, I'll have whatever is left from that. As, all these guys battling over here, and Joris Butkus just is cruising around like it's another Sunday drive. 10.9 seconds the gap to now. That is insane. Well done, Joris. Asmund William Nairn gets a massive moment going on the exit off Dunlop. Another car just kind of getting it wrong, going into that high-speed kink, and Guillermo Perez manages to sneak ahead. And he hold on now, going through Sector 3. Remember, this corner off-camber has caught out many of people. As now Greg Cachadorian looking to has caught up to these guys, I should say. And is now looking at being a menace. Perez managing to get throttled on, Nairn getting throttled on, as is Greg Cachadorian. And they are all going through. And down to turn 1 we go. Although I think Perez has built enough of a gap for it to not be an issue. Yeah, it's not really coming down. They are going to head into turn 1. The Cachadorian, you can see how much time he has gained. 1.8 seconds gained that last lap to William Nairn. And Perez holds on to turn 1. Nairn was maybe looking at a slightly further inside line than you normally expect, but gets another snap on the exit. That Mercedes is looking twitchy, but then so is every other car on this particularly wet track. Cachadorian looking to maybe capitalize on a moment for Nairn, going very slow on the throttle out of turn 3. They both go through 100R. Cachadorian looking around the outside for a moment. Nairn managing to block off that, but that turns into the inside for the hairpin. Nairn goes wide on the apex. Cachadorian backed out of it, but that, I think, was more psychological tactics than actual put your race car in gap tactics. As Nairn did look momentarily in trouble, but manages to escape jail free. And you see coming up through Dunlop, nothing doing. Coming up through Sector 3 now. As Nairn looking. Keep that defense going. Oh, I've been wondering where chat was this whole time. And yeah, David Carter in chat saying, hope everyone brought their snorkel. Yeah, it certainly does look like a snorkel might be the most helpful thing you can have in your car at this point, seeing that the tires are completely useless, as you've seen several times. Rears just spinning out every time you get on the throttle. Rick Cachadorian, of course, having had that experience, is now looking to make up for it on William Nairn, the gap 3/10 down the straight. But still nothing Greg Cachadorian can do, has to settle back onto the wider line. As Nairn taking a narrow inside, partially for defense, partially for wet tires. But managing to hold on again. Meanwhile, Richie Wood and June RCs, this battle has continued. Richie Wood looked for a moment like he might just get past, but that Ferrari has been doing incredibly well, keeping the pace nice and steady. 200ths the difference between these two last lap, basically nothing. It's been great to watch. As I say that, immediately June RCs goes miles off the track, manages to rejoin in front, but that's going to be a hefty track limits penalty. And June RCs is going to have to be careful not to have many more of those. Drive-through would be a very sad way to end this battle. As we head down in through the 100R. Once again, Richie Wood trying to keep up, trying to look for that opportunity to get through. UNRC's desperately trying not to give that opportunity to Richie Wood. Further up, Rick Cachadorian and William Nairn are going side by side through Dunlop and now going side by side. Are they going to go side by side through the whole of Sector 3? Because the inside is not necessarily as grippy, but William Nairn, I think, just given that up pretty quickly, realizing that, or maybe just getting out-dragged by Greg Cachadorian on exit there. Cachadorian moves back up to 4th place. William Nairn gets another snap. Oof, that Mercedes again not looking very happy on exit. And 2 more massive snaps on the exit of the final corner, and William Nairn has now well and truly dropped back. Rick Cacciadorian, though, moving up now, will look to try and catch Guillermo Perret and Michael Landry. Landry doing well to hold on from Perret, has managed to find a bit of pace. These two basically neck and... I was going to say neck and neck, but Guillermo Perret just pulled 6/10 the previous lap. So looking forward to seeing that battle happening soon. Meanwhile, between these two, Richie Wood and June RC still neck and nose to tail. Now the gap, now Narci's gaining about 0.3 hundredths of a second that lap, so dead even right now. Liam Wilson looking to recover from a spin. Rich Dyer looking to recover from a spin. Both these guys started 5th and 6th. They're now 13th and 14th and still battling. And Wilson maybe thinking about a move. Nope, too far back. Using wisely and staying further behind. Meanwhile, up and down the field, not much else is happening. Things have settled down a little bit. As Richie Wood still looking for a way past you, but nothing come up so far. We both take considerably different lines going to hairpin though. Is that going to open up anything? No, doesn't look like it. Both lines seemingly being equally as good. Behind them, Matthew Murray is kind of coming back. And that an eventful race. Meanwhile, shout out to these guys, Parker Thomas in P6 and Dan Gomez in P7. Just been quietly making their way through. Both didn't have the best of qualifyings, but like I said, when the order gets mixed up, you really look out for those on race pace to make some great recovery drives. Parker Thomas, if my display is right, is up 3 positions from the start. Dan Gomez up 8. Yeah, great drive from these guys so far, and we're looking forward to Dan Gomez in that. Oh God, what livery is that? This is what happens when you've had a break, folks. You kind of forget a few things. I don't know, but that's a pretty sick livery. Which one that is? Mission Wallace in the Porsche. Ooh. Him and Ricky Swabby are slowly closing up to Matthew Murray in front. Swabby, though, has been making some big ground this past lap. The previous lap, at least 0.984. Almost a second gained on Wallace there. Gonna be battling pretty hard. Up front, I can tell you, Guillermo Perret is now within 7/10 of Michael Landry. As we see Ricky Swabby trying to go side by side with Mission Wallace going into turn 3. They make it through okay, but now it's 100R and Wallace and Swabby has got the inside line. Is this even going to be a contest? Ooh! Taking different lines through there and almost coming together are these guys as Wallace managed to get that position back. That was, I don't know whether to call that good planning from the Porsche or just a moment from the Lexus, but whatever that was, it brought us some good entertainment. As Mission Wallace now looking to make it through Dunlop. The Lexus still in hot pursuit, coming up through here. As further behind them now, Rich Dyer and CM Felson, who we saw earlier, were kind of just trying to make their way back up the field. Now caught up to these two, and we'll be looking for some good positions as a recompense for what happened on the first few laps. Coming through that left-hander. As the Wallace goes for the wider line, Swabby goes for the narrower. As Swabby gets a big movement, that's gonna open him up to Rich Dyer right behind, and Dyer takes that no contest. He's got the move done as they get the power down almost, and managing to get through nicely. Like I said, folks, mistakes here are punished pretty quickly on the straight. Swabby, though, not giving this up just yet, still in the draft off that Mustang. Are we gonna see a send? Doesn't look like it. Behind him, though, he's gonna have to watch out for CM Wilson, so this is gonna be almost he attacked for defense as never mind. CM Wilson gets a huge moment going through the exit of turn 1, manages incredibly well to keep it on track. I didn't know you could save death wobbles in the Porsche, but apparently you can. Rich Dyer now looking to pick off Mission Wallace I hope I'm saying that name right. I do apologize. Pronunciations are sometimes a little bit hard. As we go through the hairpin, Wallace looking really nervous in that Porsche there. Rich Dyer seems to have recovered whatever maybe loss of composure that car had and is looking really, really calm and steady. Coming through 300R, going down to Dunlop. And they both kind of clip the apex pretty well. As we look on board Wallace. Going through sector 3, going through, they're now going to come up to the turn of death, as I'm going to call it, because it's a corner, anyone can name a corner, and I'm going to call it the turn of death because I think it has earned it today. As coming through now to the final corner, Rich Dyer looking to take a slightly different line to Wallace, who really opens it up as you would in the dry. Dyer, though, is about 5/10 behind on the straight. Mission Wallace, you can see that Porsche really gain hard in the traction zone, but then as the straight progresses, you see that Mustang begin to stretch out its legs. 4/10 now, down to the 3/10, and coming, and reducing, 2/10, and going down further, but he's just about going to run out of straight, or he can set up to make a move. However, he is now closer, and trying to make a move coming out of turn 1. Dyer is going to try and make himself as visible in those mirrors as possible. I didn't think you could try even harder with a bright blue, bright red car right behind you. But he's going to try. And he is once again going to try and stick to the inside. I believe that was Ricky Swaby who was trying the inside into 100R. He's going to send it, though, going into the hairpin. What a move, Rich Dyer. That was swapping out from going to the outside to going to the inside at the last minute and getting that braking down. Not exactly the done deal in the Mustang. And that's a very impressive move by Rich Dyer. Now gonna go through Dunlop. Can he hold on to it, though? Yes, he can. Beautiful moves there, and especially in the wet, in a Mustang, no less. Wallace Solis is not gonna give this up. He's got the Porsche. He's got that massive, massive traction advantage that he can take full use of if he has to. Get this move done. Meanwhile, on the front straight, sorry, I'm gonna cut off from this. Greg Cachadorian and Guillermo Perret are going at it, going through turn 1. Greg Cachadorian getting that move done on Guillermo Perret. I didn't even see him closing up. I just thought these three were going lock step. Take a look at the replay. We're gonna have to take a look at the replay of that, haven't we? I'm into the back straight. Perret just maybe getting blocked off by Landry's BMW a little bit on the exit? I don't know. But the replay didn't go quite far back enough to see what happened. But that's the move. That was all that Greg Cachadorian needed to open up the defense of Guillermo Perret and sail on through. A little bit of contact there as well in the braking zone, I think. Or Guillermo just trying to get out further wide. It looked like contact from this angle, though. But that means that, set back to left. There we go. Greg Cachadorian. So that means Greg Cachadorian now has the chance to get back up to P2 after having lost it in that spin through Death Corner. As they're going to come up to it again. Michael Landry getting a little bit, everybody getting a little bit nervous out of the exit there. Almost twitching in sympathy as Guillermo Perret goes for descent into the final corner. Greg Cachadorian is going to be on that outside line. Guillermo Perret on the inside. Perret managing to take it back for now, but will we see a repeat again coming down to the line? Joris Butkus has crossed the line to start the final lap, so these guys have one more lap to figure it out, as it might actually be more than one lap depending on what Joris's pace is this next lap. They're gonna go side by side through the entire 2-kilometer back straight of Fuji Speedway, and they're gonna come into turn 1. Perret holding that inside line still. Greg Cachadorian trying to get the move done on the outside. They're still side by side going through turn 2, but going into turn 3, Cachadorian may just have edged out Perret, and he has, getting that P3 back. Greg Cachadorian after a brilliant launch from Guillermo Perret to open up the move. As we see a car off in the runoff there, I believe is that June RC's? That does kind of look like June RC's. It was a red car anyway. Meanwhile, we're gonna have to go and look at another move going into turn 1 as Mission Wallace and Ricky Swaby are getting back at it. Going to turn 1, Swaby on the inside, Wallace on the outside. Swaby getting a moment on traction. The Porsche we know can take full advantage of such a moment. They're gonna go side by side into 3. Are they gonna go too wide? No, they are not, as Ricky Swaby chooses life and chooses the over and up and under on Mission Wallace, trying to get this move done somehow as they go through 300R and come up to Dunlop. Oh no, sorry, that's 100R. Now they're coming up to the hairpin. As we go out of the hairpin, Mission Wallace looks like he's got the stunt, but do not count out any final lap shenanigans. Meanwhile, Joris Butkus has crossed the start finish, I think, so there's going to be one more lap after this. And looks like everyone's on budget on VE at least. We'll see how. So we don't have any sort of fuel dramas coming up to the line. Nick Johnson, Matthew Heslop, and Dean Wolf are retirement so far. You hate to see it. But coming down the line is Greg Crashdurian going to have something he'll love to see. A return to P2. Michael Landry goes defensive. Knows this game, has played this game many times before, but goes a little bit wide on the exit, and Greg Cachadorian takes full advantage. Manages to get that move done going into turn 3. He is ahead. Is Landry going to try and make this a too-wide situation, though? Thought about it for a second there, but Greg Cachadorian has that move done. Now, can he hold on till the end of the lap? Landry is still there, still capable of biting right back as they go through 100R and down into the hairpin. We are gonna see as Landry gets real close under braking. That BMW not exactly happy on its brakes and almost caused another incident there. Greg Cachadorian though manages to get ahead. Now Guillermo Perret is gonna be the one that Michael Landry will have to worry about, or not, as he has also dropped back a little bit. Landry's still in this. Landry's not gonna give this up easy. We know that. He races hard, he races fair, he races clean. As we see with Greg Cachadorian. Joris Butkus, meanwhile, he won it at Imola. He's now won it in the rain twice. Give it up to the man. What a drive. And once again, coming through to win round 4 of the Sprint Championship by a landslide. And now we're going to have to go back really quickly to this battle because it's getting spicy. Michael Landry sending it into the final corner, clearly looking to get that inside line, but not quite able to. Greg Cachadorian may just hold on down the start-finish straight. Michael Landry has not got the straight line speed to counter, so Greg Cachadorian will come home to take second place. Michael Landry on the podium. What a battle, ladies and gentlemen. Guillermo Perret comes back to finish 4th, all the way down from 12th place on the grid. Oh, what a comeback from him. William Nairn does well to finish 5th, although after some good battling of his own. Parker Thomas coming home to finish 6th, and Dan Gomez holds on to P7 as well. Great drives, everyone. Richie Wood coming home to finish 8th. I believe that's one of his best finishes so far this season. Great to see. June RC's eventually did get overtaken, but is in P9. Ricky Swaby has had a yellow flag. He has lost a couple of positions. Yours Butkus has a yellow flag, although I imagine that's more celebration related. URC's coming home to finish 9th. Rich Tire finishing, rounding out our top 10. And then 11th, Matthew Murray. Mission Wallace in 12th, CM Wilson in 13th, Ricky Swaby in 14th, Vinny Del Vilano in 15th, Kawan Green in 16th, and Bart Bonerson, our final finisher. Our DNFs, Nick Johnson, Matthew Heslop, and Gene Wolf. We'll take a quick look at what happened to Ricky Swaby. Fighting with Mission Wallace, we saw that the previous few laps. Now going through up to the final corner, losing out. Oof. That sucks. Ricky Swaby does manage to get back on the road, only loses up 1 position, I think, but man, that's not the way you want to end a battle like that. And as bonus content, we'll show you Joris Butkus most likely wrecking his car. Oh no, it's just donuts. Alrighty, folks. With that, position over. And with that, folks, let's get our podium place finisher. So, of course, no strangers to the podium, but glad to have them. Welcome to the podcast.
Wow.
You and Landry. Alrighty, gentlemen, welcome to the post-race interview. Congratulations. We saw quite a lot of battling from you guys, Greg, Joris, and Landry. Greg and Joris at the start, of course, and after that, Joris, you were flying, so congratulations on that. Let's start off with you, Michael. Kind of an interesting race you had. We saw a lot of battles, and then in the end, it was you, Guillermo, and Greg. That was some excellent racing. Talk to us through that.
Yeah, was a one quality lap because weather increased, so didn't quality as good as I want. But I know the M4 was good on the start, so managed to do a couple position before T1. And after that, I have Greg spin, and I thought I was fine, but he found a way to come back again. I know I was trying to force him. I went a little bit too deep on turn one, and he got me on like a lap to go. I don't know. It was like a second. He was running like a second or more faster than me. I tried, but couldn't keep it. It was fun.
Yeah, it was great to watch as well. Congratulations, Michael. Great to see.
Thank you.
Yeah, now Greg, coming to you. Man, P2 to P6 to P2. That was a hell of a race. Yeah, Max Verstappen. Yeah, talk to us a bit about the spin and sort of the drive after that. How was that experience?
I mean, it wasn't fun initially. I swear, like this car in Sector 3, like I just got to drive on feathers, basically, like Featherfoot. I told myself I wasn't gonna spin there, and I did. Tapped the wall a little bit. I don't think there was like a ton of damage. Rachel and I think P7, someone else had an issue, and I got past, and I didn't really know how. Fuji races really, really well, but I didn't know how I was gonna like really do in the wet. But it was fun. I found grip and some offline spots that helped me out. Had some really amazing fights throughout the grid, and you know, I was when I was simultaneously trying to see if I could do something on Michael. Guillermo sniped me a bit.
Yeah, I did see
so
that.
I kind of had no choice but to just keep pushing forward. It was fun. Like it started out, not fun, but I wasn't going to catch Joris at all. So at least I got to do something.
Well, that was quite the drive to watch. Congrats, Greg. Great job.
Thank you.
And speaking of great jobs, Joris, man, once again, you're just flying away every time. We see you at turn one. We saw a little bit of a battle with Greg, and then just gone. So tell us, what music were you listening to on that drive?
I think Greg and Michael and like a lot of people here, I think you guys are a little bit too nice when it comes to fighting. I feel like Greg could have just centered on me and probably would have conceded the position. Otherwise, yeah, it was very non-eventful. I guess 2 laps in, I had a big brain fart moment where I thought that I was severely short on fuel. So I was trying, like, I think for 2 laps, I did not even look at the track where I was driving. I'm sure I was like off-roading everywhere. Because I was trying to like I was trying to calculate how much fuel I need to save, and then I talked to Michael, and he's like, "We already did 4 laps," and I was like, "Okay," so then went back to normal. But yeah, I had if Michael didn't tell me, I think I would have spent a couple more laps trying to figure it out until a light bulb moment. And then besides this, like the Porsche is quick here in the first place, and then in the rain is just a little bit unfair. So yeah.
Well, congratulations once again. Great win. And yeah, you're
Thank
keeping
you.
up that lead at the top of the standing.
Thanks.
Yeah, all right. Well, congratulations, gentlemen. Great race from all of y'all. And I'll let you get back to the debrief.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Well, folks, that was a hell of a race. yeah, if you saw that and you're thinking, hey, I want to get in on this, well, you're in luck. We have plenty of spots open on both our multi-class and sprint championships. And of course, tomorrow's multi-class race is going to be Fuji. And same thing, same weather, but 60 minutes, 65 minutes? I think it's 60 minutes. And so that'll be with hypercars as well. So expect to see way more action than we saw tonight. And if you want to get in on that action, of course, links to Discord, the website, and SimGrid are in the description. I'd say join the Discord, get talking to his folks. There's also stuff on the website to tell you how to sign up, I think. And until tomorrow, I've been Nitin, we've been OOFS,